What is the best surveillance camera for a private investigator today? Welcome to the PI Guide channel. My name is John Morris. I am a licensed professional private investigator. Preventive Strike, a good viewer and subscriber here on the channel, recently asked me what is your take on a good camcorder. And Mike Hajar, another great viewer and subscriber, chimed in and asked me what video camera I was using. Preventive Strike also inquired about the Sony AX53 for a beginner, and I will take a look at that here in a moment and let you know about the camera I use as my mainstay surveillance camera. Here are the things your surveillance camera must have, along with some other considerations. The first thing to look for in a good surveillance camera is the optical zoom capabilities. Now, most camera manufacturers will be pushing the digital zoom capabilities of their camera, but here's a big secret about digital zoom. For surveillance, you never want to use digital zoom for gathering video evidence. The problem with digital zoom is that it is digital. It is not a true representation of what you are seeing. The computer inside the camera is making digital enhancements to help things far away appear to be clearer. Now, there is a place for digital zoom as a surveillance investigator, and I will let you in on that secret here in just a moment, but let me tell you first why optical zoom is so important. Optical zoom is a real deal, and the higher the optical zoom you have, the better it is. Well, at least to a point. Regardless of how high your optical zoom is, you also need good video stabilization on the camera. I would rather have a camera with 12x optical zoom and great stabilization than have 50x optical zoom and no stabilization. Without good stabilization, you have to pretty much be shooting on a stationary tripod almost all of the time. The other downside to high-rated optical zoom cameras is the price point. In most cases, the higher the optical zoom, the higher the price tag, but the camera I use, which we will discuss here in a moment, has a high optical zoom and a low price. Manual focus is another feature you want your camera to have. I myself do not often use manual focus, but I know many surveillance investigators out there that swear by it. Manual focus comes in handy when you are shooting video through a bush or with a fence or other obstruction between you and your subject, and the autofocus keeps focusing in on the object versus the subject. If you use manual focus, there is also a learning curve to it, so make sure you are familiar with how to use it when you purchase your surveillance camera. Night video options, or what is often referred to as low light or even sometimes as dusk video, is a must-have feature too. You will often find yourself in low light situations, and obtaining good video that is not too grainy and high enough in quality so you can identify your subject is necessary. A flip-out view screen is also a must for your surveillance camera. Some cameras only have a viewfinder, which makes seeing what you're shooting video of very difficult. Now, a word of caution when using the flip-out viewing screen is the amount of light it shines in your vehicle and on you. I always have my screen lighting set to the dimmest setting, but if I am in a bright light situation, I need to then brighten it to ensure I can see what I'm doing. If your camera had a view screen and a viewfinder, this can be really nice. Then you could use the viewfinder for those more discreet situations when you want no or limited lighting from the camera inside your car. But the downside to having both is the cost of the camera. Most cameras that have both are usually more expensive and oftentimes not in the average new PI's budget. The biggest thing to keep in mind, though, no matter what camera you purchase, is the fact that you need to know how to use it. Going out on surveillance for the first time with your new surveillance camera is not the time to learn how to use the advanced or even basic functions. I always suggest to go out and do some mock surveillance in a shopping area or some other location and practice how to use the camera properly. Now, before we cover the most important feature your camera needs to have, let's look at the Sony AX53 that Preventive Strike was talking about and my preferred camera and compare the two. Here is the Sony AX53 for your viewing pleasure. I will leave a link below for the Sony AX53 for you to reference as well. This handy cam has UHD ultra high definition 4K capabilities, which will provide some amazing video footage to be sure. It also has 20x optical zoom, and it can shoot video at 24 or 30 frames per second. Again, some great features that will provide excellent video quality. It sports a large 3-inch touchscreen viewing screen that flips out and spins around, and it has an HDMI output port too, so you could hook it up to a monitor or other viewing device. And if you shoot in 1080p, it can shoot video up to 120 frames per second, and it takes 16.6 megapixel still photos and has a surround sound microphone, and a really nice feature it has is Wi-Fi and NFC connectivity. All this with a price tag of just a little over $1,000, which seems pretty steep for a beginner surveillance camera to me. Now, the camera I use has many of the same features and even some more advanced features. Really quick, before we discuss the most important feature of all your surveillance camera needs, let's look at my daily driver. The Panasonic HCV180 is my preferred camera for surveillance, and again, I will leave a link below for this camera so you can compare. The HCV180 has 50x optical zoom. That is right, it has 50x optical zoom, and it has this cool feature called intelligent zoom at 90x. The intelligent zoom is an enhanced optical zoom, but not digital zoom. The digital zoom on this camera is 500x, but I do not recommend using digital zoom for gathering evidence in most cases, but I will discuss when you should use digital zoom in just a moment. It does have auto or manual focus, shoots 1080p video, has a 2.7-inch flip-out viewing screen that also spins, and it shoots up to 10 megapixel still photos. And the best part, the Panasonic HCV180 comes in at around $349 for the price tag, which is a lot more affordable for many beginner surveillance investigators. Now let's talk 4K video for surveillance video, folks. In my humble opinion, it is never good to shoot in 4K resolution. 1080p is always more than enough. 4K video files can get very, very large, which presents storage problems, editing problems, and sending or retrieving video file issues as well. Most video editors also take 4K and output it to 1080p, or if they leave it 4K, they compress it down, which reduces the quality, and most customers do not have 4K monitors to view the video on. Now, why would you ever need to use that digital zoom on surveillance? Well, I do a lot of rural and mountain surveillance, and that digital zoom can come in quite handy when I just need to see far distances away to see if a vehicle is present, see if there is activity, but I do not try to capture tons of video of my subject while using digital zoom. The biggest feature of all your surveillance camera must have is the ability to set the time and date on it and have that be displayed in your final video. At the very least, if your video does not have the date and time stamp on it, then the date and time need to be in the meta information for the video to help prove when it was captured. But in the vast majority of cases, you will want that displayed right in your video. Insurance companies and other vendors, for the most part, will not accept video without the date and time stamp embedded in the video. I use special software called IVE that takes that meta information inside the video for the date and the time, and it embeds it right into my video. I will leave a link below for IVE for you to check out, and if you request a trial or some info from them, let them know the PI guy sent you. Now, if you would like to see my preferred camera, the Panasonic HCV180, in action on a live surveillance I was recently on, then check out this video.